Hey, good morning, everybody. Matt Modi here with OddsJam, and in this video, just going to be giving you my favorite anytime touchdown score bets for tonight, for Monday Night Football tonight. So obviously we have the Commanders versus the Eagles. So I'm going to give you my favorite pick, not the most likely pick, but because then that would be boring. You could just look at the odds and say this person is most likely to score. I'm going to bet them. I'm going to give you my favorite pick based on the value of the odds and also someone that I actually think is likely to score as well. So I'm going to give out one pick each for the Commanders and the Eagles. I'll get started with the Eagles. And my favorite player to score is Devonta Smith at plus 200 odds at FanDuel. So I'm going to go ahead and lock this in. I'm going to put a half of a unit on each of these, $50 on Devonta Smith to score. So let's chat about it. Number one, the page I have up here is just the OddsJam line shopping tool. It's completely free. So just go to sports, NFL, choose the game, choose the market, anytime touchdown score, and it pulls up where every sportsbook prices a player to score. I like Devonta Smith for a couple reasons. Number one, and I understand it's not always this simple, but look up the stats that Devonta Smith had last time these two teams played. 8 receptions, 169 yards, and 1 touchdown, including one of those catches went down like right at the goal line. He could have had 2. And Devonta Smith has kind of been hit or miss this year. Like he went catchless in week 1, then had a great weeks 2 and 3. He scored against the Cowboys in week right before their bye. I think week 6. And then he's kind of been quiet the past 2 weeks as well. So whenever a player AJ Brown's clearly had the better year, but whenever someone between Brown and Smith have been quiet, they've been peppering the other receiver with targets the following week. Now, that was my logic for the last Eagles game against the Texans. That did not work out, so admittedly have to take an L there. But I still like Smith this week. But the main reason why, aside from just thinking that the Eagles are going to purposefully target him more, the main reason why, the Washington Commanders are the literal worst team in the NFL at guarding the opposing team's number 2 receiver. If you go to DVOA and you look up defense versus receivers, the Commanders are literally 32nd against second receivers. So for whatever reason, they do a better job against number 1 receivers. In this case, that would obviously be AJ Brown. The Eagles have a very clear hierarchy in terms of number 1 receiver versus number 2. Number 2 falls squarely on Devonta Smith. So I think that he's a good bet to hit. I would like all of his props to go over receptions, yards, and to score a touchdown. I think it's a good bet. Obviously, part of the Commanders being 32nd is because they had that blow-up game against Devonta Smith. So that obviously counts towards that. But it's also that way for a reason. Smith just torched whoever was guarding him. Brown had still scored in that game against the Commanders, so it wasn't like he was bad, but he didn't have put up the stats that Smith did. So I like backing Smith a lot in this one. He is my favorite bet to score on the Eagles in terms of value. Because look at where the other books price it, like plus 200 at FanDuel, plus 190 on PointsBet, plus 195 on FoxBet, plus 180 at Betfred, and then the rest are significantly lower. Plus 175, plus 160, plus 165, plus 150. Trying to find value in these plays is a good way to make them profitable in the long run. So I'm going to ride with Devonta Smith on this one. My favorite player to score for the Commanders is Terry McLaurin, plus 270 odds. This one is at Betfred. I would also take it at plus 250 at FanDuel as well. So I'm going to go ahead and lock this one in. Another half unit play for me. Terry McLaurin, anytime touchdown scorer. Bet has been referred. I'm not sure what that means. But regardless, this is going to be my second play, my favorite play for the Commanders. So let's chat about this one. Plus 270 odds, I think, is great. McLaurin has been pretty significantly better with Heineke as the starting quarterback versus Carson Wentz. Heineke will basically just pepper McLaurin with targets. He'll throw him jump balls, which Wentz never really did. So Heineke started 3 starts. One game, McLaurin went over 100 yards. He scored in another game. Even last game, which was his most quiet one, he still had 5 receptions for just under 60 yards, something like that. So even in his quiet games, he's still playing well. And I know he's going to get the Darius Slay or James Bradberry treatment. Both of the Eagles cornerbacks have been phenomenal, but if Heineke just throws him enough jump balls, I wouldn't be surprised if Terry McLaurin comes down with one, especially against Slay. Slay's a very good sticky man-to-man cover corner. He's not as good in the jump ball arena, which Terry McLaurin, he's a great receiver. One of the things he's good at is catching jump balls like that. Remember the Packers catch? Remember the Colts catch where he just went up and over the defender and caught it? So I'm not exactly saying I think the Commanders are going to have a great game in the air. Certainly not. But I think the most likely player to score, and I love their value, is Terry McLaurin at plus 270 at Betfred. I mean, DraftKings has it all the way down at plus 210. The average odds on this one are plus 242. Pretty good value here, getting McLaurin at plus 270. So he is my favorite player to score on the Commanders. And that is going to be it for my favorite touchdown score bets for tonight. So if you're tailing any of these, let me know. Comment on the video with your feedback. But that's all I got. So thanks for watching and have a good one.